Welcome to another episode of Run with Julia. I'm just on my way to Battersea Park where there is a RunThrough event taking place, a RunThrough half marathon. RunThrough are an incredible company and they put on running events all over the UK from anything from a mile to a half marathon. They're a fabulous, fabulous group of people. All the people who work in RunThrough are always friendly, always high vibe, always helpful, always friendly. It's an incredible experience. Really wonderful community, and I am going to go and today talk with Emma Joy. Is full of joy. She's a wonderful woman and she's very much a tour de force in RunThrough. She has many roles. She says her main role is, I've written it down to make sure that I get it correct, she is RunThrough's influencer, marketing and community manager, and she does it with great aplomb and joy and excellence. I mean, she really is a fabulous young woman, and I always enjoy seeing her at the events, and I also enjoy seeing what she posts in all of the social media. It's always engaging and very authentic. She's a great person, so I feel very privileged to be going to go and have a conversation with her. I'm going along to the event first to just see what's going on, see the vibe, and then at the end when she's finished, she is going to have a chat with me, so I'm very much looking forward to that. And here it is, all the action. This is the bandstand at Battersea, and lovely vibe, a lot of people.
I know a song like so we're going to the other side, keep swapping from left and right. And last one. Fantastic. We're just going to open up those hips, so bringing it all the way out around. Make sure we're using that hip rotation. Couple more of those. Fantastic, runners. And back to that gentle jog. And back to those shoulder rolls. Let's go forwards. And forwards. And slow it right down. Let's go into a march. Just bringing those knees all the way up. Keeping that nice tall posture. Fab work. Last 3, 2, and 1. Good stuff. So what we're going to do, I'm going to count in 3, 2, 1. For 5 seconds, we're going to sprint as fast as we can on the spot. Are we ready, guys? I think we're going to be a bit louder. Are we ready? Woohoo! Okay. Let's get ready to sprint in 3, 2, 1. Let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shake it out, shake it out. Give them a cheer. Give them a huge clap. Make sure you have a great race.
Can I just start with my hand?
That was brilliant to see Emma doing the warm-up. Very fab. Lovely gang. Huge amount of people. I've just run 3 miles of the half marathon, and here they all are.
Well done, our run out for it crew. We've got runners coming down your right side, so just be aware.
So I've been home, I've showered, I've changed, I'm back at the bandstand. I'm with Anadi, clearly, my cameraman. We've got coffee, all important coffee, and Emma's still busy doing her thing. So we're going to wait and chat to her.
You are so close.
Yeah, so we're actually now properly, I had the warming up, I had Emma doing the wonderful one. I was taking tips because I'm warming up tomorrow.
Of course you are, yes.
So I was like watching and thinking, oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's good. And you've been up since 4 o'clock this morning.
Yes, it's been a very early start.
The hour of 4.
Always is.
The hour of 4 is only, as I was saying to you before, it's for getting on an aeroplane.
Yeah,
But
I mean, that would be great if I was. That's next week, so
Okay,
looking
where
forward to
are
that,
you
going
going?
to Lisbon for the half marathon.
because RunThrough is branched forth event?
Yeah, so this is not for RunThrough, but this is just me running, just because I've got it planned
this
in
is
the
you
air.
running.
So just going to get a half marathon in for the training.
Oh, well done, because I know RunThrough.
Everywhere now.
Yes,
so,
and
yeah.
you went some. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of expansion
Yes.
everywhere. And you're going to Lisbon. So
Yeah.
tell us about you, because I'm interested in RunThrough and you, because I can see RunThrough's it's kind of gone from a seed, hasn't it, into a huge.
Exploded, especially in the last few years. Like, it's just over 10, I think it's coming up to 11 years old. The birthday is next week, I think, actually, so it should be 11. However, in the last, say, 5 years or so, it's just really exploded. We're up and down the country. We're sort of, we've got Ireland as well, and we've, sort of out a little bit further, and there's a few things on the horizon. So it is going to be everywhere at some point. I think that's the mission.
I think so. I can see that. And how long have you been here? Because I think I got your title correct.
Yeah.
As the Influencer Marketing and Community Manager.
Yes.
And how long have you been with RunThrough?
So since lockdown, actually. So 2020, when it all sort of went downhill for a lot of people. I was in the gym, so obviously I couldn't work at the time, and I'd been running some RunThrough events. I'd been marshalling, and spoke to a couple of the people who I knew were working there, and they were saying like, oh, we've got a couple of things that we need help with. Did you want to do it? And I thought, why not? Like, whilst I'm sat at home, I might as well do something.
So you were a gym person?
So I was doing a lot of like PT stuff. I was doing like random other jobs, as you do when you're like working out as a PT. So I was doing like dog walking, I was doing random like other admin jobs and things like that. But it was really cool because RunThrough, obviously, it's everything that I enjoy. So it's running, it's the sports industry, it's working with the community and people, but also I was doing all the like other random admin things, but just being like within the sports community, so sort of like where I wanted to be. So then after a little while of doing some stuff with RunThrough, they were just like, have you thought about maybe joining us full time? And I was kind of a bit like bored of the gym life at this point, and I was like, no, running is where it's at, because that's my passion. So I must go into this sort of area. So I came to RunThrough when we started getting back into events, so a year or so later, and I've just been here ever since.
Yeah, because I think of you as very, very much a figurehead and a tour de force, and no, you're really good, because your energy and your Instagram is awesome. And I said when I was introducing you before I came that I love your posts, and they're very real and they're very you.
Yeah.
And I mean, do you enjoy doing all that? Because I presume as the influencer and marketing person,
Yeah.
you have to. So
Yeah.
do you enjoy it all?
Of course, yeah. So we were talking about it, me and my friend, earlier on today, because we were saying how like back in the day when we first started, like it was all very blogs. Everyone was writing blogs at the time. So I started out as like a blog writer in 2013, and I just started talking about my running journey, just as sort of like a journal type thing, but like online. And then eventually I just kind of like started meeting people at races, and I guess you just sort of you get to know the crowd and like the same people going to the same events and those sorts of things. And I guess people just sort of noticed me like, oh, she's the girl with the purple hair, the girl with the lipstick, and that's where the lipstick and trainers came from. So yeah, it sort of like became like a brand without it becoming one, like professionally, and then suddenly it became a professional name for me. So I guess I've been sort of blogging since 10 years, and then sort of when Instagram came in, it became a big thing, sort of got onto that trend. I've been on that for like the last 8 years, and even though like I'm not quite with the times at all times, I just try to keep it real. It's just more about my journey and like how things have helped me and how it can help other people.
I enjoy your posts because they are very real. And obviously I'm, as we were just saying before we started recording, I'm in the history books. I had my first phone when I was about the age you are, and I wouldn't use it at first.
Yeah.
Everybody said, turn your phone on, Julia. And then the thing that got me using it was my young clients.
Yeah.
Because I've always worked as a therapist, and I was in gyms before.
Yeah. We'll
We
start
all
there, do we?
start in the gym. And they started texting me, and I saw on my phone all these little envelopes, and I said to another of my young clients, what's that? Those are texts, Julia. So I have kind of tried to keep up with it, simply because I like people and I like being part of the community.
Yeah.
And you have to go with the.
You do. You've got to
with
learn,
it.
haven't you? Go to the next
Gotta
thing.
go to, I learned how
Yeah.
to do a story. Oh my God, stories seem to me some kind of thing. I didn't know how to do it, and then I learned it, and then it's easy.
Yeah, so
They're
easy
all
just to like put it on.
Just put it on. But tell me, so Lisbon, coming back to
Yes, yeah.
the Lisbon. So you're running. You said running's your thing.
Yeah.
So what is Lisbon? Is that
have you been aiming for that, or is that part of the journey?
Yeah, so it's sort of like part of my build up to my next big race, which is my next half Ironman. So
wow.
I wasn't put off by the first one.
So tell us, because I think you've been amazing. You had a huge bike accident. Well, when did you have it? It was in Richmond
October
Park.
1st. I remember it just being the very first day, and I was like 3 weeks out from my big race, my very first half Ironman, and yeah, I was in Richmond Park and a car came out in front of me and braked suddenly, which meant I braked suddenly and I flipped over my bike, and it was obviously not a very good day for me. And yeah, it was really.
Can you remember that? I mean, because sometimes when people have accidents, they say they can't remember, but
Yeah.
can you remember the whole?
I remember pretty much the whole thing. There was like tiny bits that sort of like I've missed out somewhere along the line, but it was, I was coming down the hill.
Were you alone?
I was alone on my bike ride, but there were cyclists around me, fortunately. But I was on my own. This was my very final brick session of all of my training. So I was supposed to be doing like 3 hours on the bike, and I was an hour and a half into the cycle, so halfway through it. I was coming down a hill. I think I just had a gel, and I was just like feeling really good. I was like, yeah, I've got another hour and a half, and then I've got my run, and then I'm done and I get to taper. Just a cycle.
Right.
And then I was going to do a run afterwards. So I was going to do like a bike run.
Yes.
And I was halfway through the cycle, coming down, a car came out, and sort of braked because there was a speed bump. So then naturally, because I was going at speed down this hill, I naturally just braked because I was very close to the car, and then I sort of had like a flash of being really close to the car, so I must have then braked again, which then sent my bike
over
all the way. And I remember flying in the air, and I could see the floor, and I watched the floor as I went towards it, and then I must have went out for a couple of seconds, because then I remember them being on the grass. And then there was a person there, and he was like, I'm a doctor, and I was like, this am I dreaming this is a bit like, what's going on? And I sort of went to get up to think, oh, I've just fallen, like brushed myself down sort of thing, and then they were like, no, you need to sit down. And I didn't realise how bad the situation was. And I kind of turned around, and there was policemen there, and I heard someone talking saying, I've called an ambulance, and I just realised like it was dawning on me at how bad this accident was. And I couldn't feel anything, like fortunately, like people say like that must have really hurt, but I couldn't feel anything. I must have been in complete shock. Couldn't feel anything, just didn't realise, I wasn't aware. Someone told me not to touch my face, so I naturally touched my face, and then I just realised how much blood there was there. So I think, and then I started to panic, and then that's when it sort of like started to escalate, and unfortunately an ambulance couldn't come in time. So apparently they're not allowed to, but the police were like, you have to go, like you have to go now. So they had to take me.
So who took you?
The police. They ended up taking me to hospital.
What,
and
in their car?
In their car. I know apparently you're not supposed to unless it's an emergency, but obviously it must have been an emergency.
And was anyone with you?
No, so I was trying to bring my partner, and he wasn't active, but he was out on a run as well, so he knew that I was going for my session, so he was going for his session. I was trying to call him, and he didn't have his phone on him, and it was just very scary. But I was fortunate that these people, the policemen, were able to take me, and it was
kind to you, I'm
very
sure.
kind, and it was a very strange experience because when I first started running 10 years ago, I started running because I was running for my cousin who was really unwell, and my journey would have not probably happened without him, and unfortunately he's not here today. But when this policeman got out of the car, he said, my name's Aaron, and that's my cousin's name. I just burst into tears, and I was like, this was meant to be, like, I was meant to meet this man. And then they left me obviously at the hospital.
And you were alone.
And then I realised,
Where's your partner?
And then
Have
at
you
this
got your
point,
phone?
fortunately, I was able to get in touch with my sister, who then called him, and I think as soon as she called him, he was coming into the house. And fortunately got him, and she said, you need to go to the hospital, and he was eventually arrived like
shock for him.
He was just
shock for you.
But he did,
Mainly.
I think he'd sort of turned up, and he was just like, I don't want to look because I can see that you're covered in blood, and he was very frightened, and I think he just was like, I don't know what's going to happen. But I then realised I'd lost my teeth at the time, and I started screaming, and it was just it was not a nice experience, obviously, like looking back.
And I mean, that's such a vulnerable thing to have your teeth knocked out. Oh God,
it was horrible.
Really, really awful.
Yeah,
awful.
I mean, it was one of those things that like now I kind of just like got on with it and was like, I just need to get through today, and I was put through to emergency surgery, so I stayed in overnight, had a lot of surgery, and then was able to go home. And then I was like, oh, what about my race? And everyone's like, you should not be thinking about your race. But bearing in mind, I've been like doing this for like, I've been doing running for 10 years. But so I was like, well, what do I do? And they told me to just get on the recovery. 3 weeks.
Okay,
So it's, looking back now, it's ridiculous. I was thinking that, but my doctor just said it really depends on your recovery, because fortunately I'd not broken anything else. It was all very facial. So they were like, you need to just focus on your recovery.
Do you think the fact, because you did go and do the race, I know, because I follow you, and do you think that was helpful in your recovery? Or,
100%, because I think as soon as I got out of hospital, I had something to like aim for in my head, and like, even though I didn't know at the time that I was going to be able to do it, I was kind of like, I need to get to that date. I just need to get to Portugal. I just need to do this. So for me, I was kind of like waiting for the next thing and like getting excited about that, and knowing that my recovery was so important.
And had you surrendered your goal?
So
or were you still hoping for
I was very much like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go to experience it. Even though training had gone really, really well up to this point, and I had like small sort of like goals in my head, I was kind of like, if I get to race it, that's a privilege. So that was my main aim, to just get there and to just get around.
And you did.
And I did, I know. I was so proud. I think I was so determined on the day. I was like, I'm here. And when they did the speech, like, think of all the things that, you know, that got you here to this day. And I was like, man, if I could just say about everything that's happened in the last like month, people would be like gobsmacked. So I just tried to just keep it quiet and like just go, okay, this is my journey, this is not about anyone else, like this is all about me. As long as I keep myself safe, I just wanted to keep away from everyone.
Just getting on a bike again. So you've had a terrible accident, and how soon did you get on the bike? Because that's quite getting back on the bike. I had a very bad horse accident when I was 8, but I got back on the horse very quickly. Well, everybody seemed to put me back on, and I was in hospital for a period of time.
Oh wow.
And then when I came out, I was riding before I knew it.
Okay,
and it was, I think,
better to get back
on the horse.
They do say that, very much the saying, isn't it?
Yes, but did you quite?
Well, for 10 days I did nothing. I was sleeping a lot, like lying down, and then I just sort of did a couple of runs at first to sort of test it, because I was like, if I don't like the sensation of it, then I'm gonna so I was like, I'll test that out, and then that was okay. And then I was like, I just need to get back on the bike, because otherwise I won't do it. We'll just give it give it up forever. So I just got back on the bike, and I literally stayed in my area and just did little laps. And it wasn't so successful, because there was at one point I got very scared and I like braked and then just sort of like leaned to the side and I was clipped in. But then I was kind of like, no, that was just me being very like hesitant. Got back on it again, and then I did like a longer ride, and then before I knew it, I was in Portugal, ready to race.
It is awesome. And then since, did you have any, I mean, because that was 3 weeks. After the event, did you have any then periods where you went, oh, I don't want to be on this bike? Or did you just still crack on? I mean, 'cause sometimes that can happen, can't it? You can go, actually,
I think when we had like a briefing before the race, and they were telling us like the dangerous parts of like the course, and there was this one bit where it says you're coming down here and there's a speed bump at the end, and I was like, great, that's exactly how I had my accident. Like, so I did kind of then consider, like, is this something I actually want to do? Like, do I want to go ahead with this and freak out, or like do something silly just because I'm nervous? And then I was talking to someone, and he was telling me about the course. He'd done it the year previous, and he like sort of like made me feel comfortable, and he was just like, just don't go fast, just take it easy. And I was like, I don't need to race it. And then I was like trying to work out whereabouts on the course it was, and I was like, okay, so if I get past 30k, everything else is flat, so I just need to get past that. And then I remember looking down at my watch after the couple of these hills, and I was like, I'm 35k in, I must be past it all by now. And then that was it. Suddenly it was like I got a spring in my step and just like sped off into the distance, and then it was all like really great, and the whole experience was amazing, and I'm so glad, because it didn't hinder any of my recovery at all. The only thing is, obviously, it's a greater risk of me having an accident again, or like someone kicking me in the face in the swim, me tripping over. But then those risks are there every day.
Your guard and everything?
No, I'd still had like it was obviously no teeth or anything like that.
Wow, when you went and did it with no teeth and everything.
No, teethless and ruthless, as like my partner likes to call me.
Gosh, you're so brave. Because what's that been like to have? Because you're wearing an
yes.
But did you have to go around without the things?
For a long time. So I literally only got these in December.
Gosh,
so three months with them.
Gosh,
October, November. 3 months with, 3 months without.
And in those 3 months, walking around in the world, was it? Because people always look, don't they?
Yes,
They
and it
can't
is,
help themselves.
yeah, and
so,
even now I get like a bit like insecure about it, but I guess that's just
so
normal.
how did you? What did you notice, and how did you work with it? Because that's a big thing.
Yeah, especially like in this environment, because I deal with people all the time. So like for me, I didn't do any events for a month after my accident, and I was like,
You
I
have
don't
to
want to.
talk.
Yeah, I had to talk, and I've got a lisp, and at the time my face was a lot more swollen, so I was just like, I don't want to talk to anyone. But then as soon as I got back in the office and people saw what I looked like, and everyone was more like, we just care about you, like we don't want you to feel self-conscious and stuff. I do obviously. I explain myself probably too much to people, so when I'm not wearing my teeth, I'm like, oh sorry, I've not got my teeth. And I do it quite a lot, but I think that's just my way of being like, that's what's going to make me feel comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I completely understand. I think our face and it's such an important part of how we're communicating.
Yeah.
And you are such a communicator. And your
Yeah.
lovely lipstick, and your lovely, beautiful smile. I mean, it's real. It's a big journey. I've been very aware watching you. I was thinking you're so brave, because being a public person, and then I mean, it's really tough. So you're going to Lisbon, so where do you feel, and you're back doing events clearly, and everything, and
back here again.
So where do you feel you're at with it, because it's they're kind of life-changing things?
Yeah, very much so. So I think I've had a recent review, and they're saying like everything's healing really well, but it might take a little bit longer to get the final procedure through. I've got 2 more steps before I get that, I've just got a little bit of a feeling it's going to be a lot longer than I want it to be, which is really upsetting, but I guess it's one of those where like I just got to get on with it. Like I feel like I can't hide away forever.
But it's still a process, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's because when were you hoping it would be done?
I was hoping by the summer, so by June, which apparently is not realistic.
Oh, really?
So so I feel like it's going to be a
hard.
lot longer, which is not nice, but I mean, what can I do? I think it's one of those where I'm now sort of back into my normal routine, and it's not stopping me from training, and I've got my next big race, and that sort of like cheered me up. I was like, I'm going to book something else and just and like try and do the training properly without falling off my bike in between.
Well, where is the race?
So the next race,
The big race.
so the
Lisbon
big one
is the half marathon.
the big one is in the Netherlands, so north of Netherlands.
Oh,
So
very good.
very flat.
Oh, yeah, lovely.
No hills.
Funnily enough, given I'm from history, I ran the Lisbon half marathon for England when I
amazing.
Goodness me, 1985 or something. When were you born?
89.
Isn't it
There's a
funny?
twinkle in my mother's eye.
Isn't that funny? I always think that's funny because I have a life with lots of young people, because my client base is, I have older, but I have a gang of sort of late 20s to about 40, and so I live my life with all these people who I'm kind of know history, and I'll mention people, I'll mention athletes or sports people, and they look blankly at me, and I think, oh, I'm talking about history. But the training you're doing then, has it compromised that at all, or are you able to practice?
No, just I'm able to carry on as normal. Again, they're just be wary of like not making sure that you have any accidents.
Be aware, yes.
But I think everyone has risks every single day, so I need to obviously cycling's quite more difficult, especially like in the winter. There's like no one wants to cycle in the rain, so for me I'm a bit like doubly don't want to do it because I don't want to have an accident.
And it is but worth being aware, isn't it? I mean, I cycled quite a lot at one point, but I was mad, and I was I'm a good runner, and I was a very good cyclist, and but a very bad bike handler.
Oh.
Really poor, and people who cycled with me used to be terrified because I was a very bad bike. Anyway, I went off it because I went with a boyfriend to France, and we did the Marmot. Do you know the Marmot?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've heard
Well,
that, yeah.
we nearly did the Marmot because by the end of it we got dark, so the last 20 miles we didn't do.
Oh,
But that is, and we had to get a thing. But we also didn't do it because I was kind of completely hypothermic and hypoglycemic. But we did do the three of the peaks, Galibier and something. Anyway, Tour de France peaks. They're all fine.
so
The
cool.
up are great.
Yeah.
And I'm quite happy going.
Yeah, I don't mind the
I
up.
hated the down. I mean, beyond anything, I hated it. And the guy I was with was a very zoomy person.
Yeah.
And he was 20 minutes waiting for me at the bottom of the hills.
I don't like
hated
it.
beyond
Yeah.
hating it. And then we got to Galibier, and it was snowy and cold. We'd been, really hot down in the valleys. got to the top, and I was getting both hypothermic. Like, we were going down this hill, and then he called a stop on it because it was dark. I was bonkers. I couldn't think straight. And we stopped it. But I never really wanted to cycle again.
I mean,
that.
yeah.
I had such a miserable time going down these mad hills. I'd hated it
It's
beyond
scary, isn't
hate.
it?
And he'd said to me, "Can't you enjoy the view?" There were points where I'd gone
After all that.
when I'd had points. So I haven't really. I kind of thought, and I was a terrible bike handler. So the combination.
Yeah.
I didn't feel I was safe on my bike.
Yeah.
And I like running more. But it's interesting. So I do think I've watched you, and I thought you're so brave. You're
I
so
do
brave.
prefer, obviously, I've come from the running background,
Yes.
so for me, like, cycling is still very new to me, so I do enjoy it, but yeah, it's a lot scarier,
Yeah,
than,
it
especially
is.
the downhills. Like
Yeah,
you said.
but no, I do. I think you're amazing. So the triathlon does obviously interest you a lot. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just the whole experience, it being together, because like I was always a really bad swimmer. I couldn't even front crawl like 2 years ago, and then I started cycling in lockdown because I think I got like a slight injury from running, and I'd just been running every day as you do, and then I was like, I'll try cycling, and then I kind of enjoyed it, and I was like, and the roads were quieter back then, and like where I lived in Lincolnshire, it was just, they're so beautiful, the routes, and I know a lot of cyclists that sort of do those routes. But I live in London, so it's a completely different environment.
Yeah, are you someone who's keen on can turbo train? Because when I was
I could do that, yeah.
Because when I was keen on cycling, it seems funny. I have phases of my life. I did lots of turbo training, and I liked it.
Yeah.
So
I think I'd like
that.
that, yeah. But then
could
it's
do
then trying to translate it into
Yes.
real cycling, and I know that if I don't do the outdoor
Yes.
stuff, I will naturally like retreat.
Yeah,
So I'm kind of like
yes.
forcing myself to
No,
like
I get
just do
that.
it.
It is a process, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's so funny, and Nadi will know this with me. I'm talking to you, and because I used to think triathlon to myself.
Yeah.
Because and then I talked to you, and even though I said, I don't like cycling, part of me goes,
Maybe give it a go.
Ooh,
Maybe a cheeky little
fun.
sprint.
Yeah, because it kind of is like, and I always get inspired, and that's it. You are very inspiring because you're inspiring because of what you do, and because you communicate with us properly on. I mean, obviously here, but I mean on Instagram. She's great, everybody. Lipstick and trainers. It is just lipstick. It's at
Lipstick and trainers, yeah.
Yes.
There's like dots in between, but
Yes.
it'll come up. There's going to be purple, so you'll see
Yes,
it.
yeah, no, and so it does, and it's very inspiring because I start to think, because I like doing different things. Like I said to you, tomorrow we're going to move again at Victoria Park, and I ran a 5k here, a RunThrough one in
Yes.
my bare feet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't run barefoot recently because I got all keen on getting fast again, and now I'm like, actually I'm quite liking running in my bare feet. I've been in Spain
Yeah.
for a whole month.
Oh my god, the
And-
weather must have been nicer than here.
And I ran barefoot all the time, so I'm like, I want to do it. But I like doing different things because I have been competing for more than 50 years. So you need to do chop and change it.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely. I
I've
think
been-
that's because
yeah.
you need to have like different
Yeah.
goals and different parts of your life. Like I've done that. I've kind of swapped and
Yes.
changed and gone tried it a bit, and then I'm like, oh, I'll go back to this.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
I first properly competed when I was 12, so that is 53 years ago.
That's amazing that you still enjoy it though. Like,
Yes.
I'm always like, hopefully I will be still enjoying it.
I think the secret is changing.
Yeah.
I think the secret, and not getting attached to, because obviously spiritually the thing I've chosen is the best thing I could for my soul, because I got better and better and better at it, and then I got worse and worse and worse. So
But it comes in like it kind of goes up and down. It's just
well,
how
no,
it life is.
I think I just got slower because I think, but I don't mind because
enjoy
I just
the-
like it because I got super fast and then I've got super slower, and I don't. It's not minding.
Yeah.
The key, because actually it's, you just do what you can.
Everything has their time, don't they? And you
Yes.
have your good times, and then you have the better times, and you have other parts of the
And
journey.
I had my very fast times before you were born.
That's amazing though. Incredible times. I've seen what you've been doing.
I had my best times. Probably my best times were between 84 and 89.
Oh, there we go.
And then you came
Oh,
over,
no.
And then I handed the baton to you and Rosie.
Yeah.
Because actually Emma and Rosie Rose, who is the wonderful boxing person who, they're friends. They've known each other
Lifelong,
forever, haven't
I
you?
can't. I think it's like 15 years plus,
Yeah.
15, 20 years.
Yes, it's amazing. So, is there anything you would say to anybody who is, had a thing or coming through something, or anything you want to share before we all go off and have lunch?
Yeah. I guess like the biggest thing that I learned during my accident and sort of the recovery, and for someone who's in training, I guess for anyone who is, doing the same thing, is it's you're a lot stronger and more resilient than you think you are. You think that these horrible things happen and then you're like, that's going to be it, or you know, like maybe you're injured or anything else, and it's like, no, there could be worse things. And I know you've got to feel the emotions, you've got to feel sad, and you've got to let yourself have those times, but also the other side of it is it's like you are strong, like you will get through it. It's easy to just hang it up and say, nah, I'm not going to do it anymore, but if you push through and you want it, like you'll get through it. You will get through it, it just takes time. So it's the biggest lesson is be patient, because I'm not very good at it, but I've learned to be a bit more patient. So
It is interesting, isn't it? Actually, I would say that that's one of the things that I have learned, that don't push,
Yeah.
just wait, and things kind of, it is like, well, it is like nature,
letting things
isn't
happen,
it?
yeah.
You can't force a flower to open.
No, and like it will happen, but it just might be a bit longer than you want it to. And I think it's just letting the experience happen and rolling with it, and not necessarily like, you're going to obviously have your ups and downs, but just kind of go with it. And yeah, you are stronger than you think you are.
No, absolutely, thank you.
No, thank you so
No,
much. It's a
lovely.
privilege.
No, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll see you
Which is
tomorrow,
great.
bright and early.
3 warm-ups. I'm doing 3. I spoke to Emma and I said, just to clarify, am I doing 3 warm-ups? She said, yes, you're doing 3 warm-ups.
Oh yeah, I'll be there watching over.
Brilliant. Well, thank you.
No, thank you so much.